good morning. Happy Sunday. I almost forgot what day it is. Happy Sunday. Hope everything's going well for you guys. Just to give you a heads up, I'm recording this before the Packers game, so if I sound like I should be more sad, they haven't lost yet, or if I sound like I should be more happy, it's because they haven't won yet. Um, let you know, I feel bad for the Steelers. I was cheering for them. Like I said, every year, Christy and I kind of hope for / dread a Packers Steelers Super Bowl, like we experienced the year we got married. So not gonna happen this year. We were rooting for it, but I will say, if they won, there's another team you can cheer for. Just saying, just putting it out there. You don't have to, but if you want to, again, if they won. Not trying to sound cocky. If they won, so. Anyway, last week we started a new series called Blessed, about a blessed new year. Not blessed, but blessed. And, excuse me, in English, those words are spelled exactly the same. But in Greek, which is the language the New Testament was written in, two completely different words. So the word we say blessed is actually translated in Greek to eulogios. I tried to look up a pronunciation for it. I actually had a hard time finding one, so we're going to go with that, eulogios. It actually means to be blessed or to be praised, whereas the word blessed is from the Greek word makarios, which means like oh so happy or to be characterized by happiness. So Jesus' very first sermon, the Sermon on the Mount, starts with a list of 8 statements called the Beatitudes. And, excuse me, they usually start with Makarios, or blessed. And Jesus said that these things will make you blessed, or, oh so happy. So, last week, we looked at the first 3. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those that mourn, and blessed are the meek. All of these were, about attitude. Jesus basically is saying that what makes us blessed is having the right attitude in regards to our relation to Him, our relation to the world, and a relation to other people. So this morning, we're going to be looking at the rest of the list, and these aren't about our attitudes, but instead these are going to be about our actions. So, one thing that you guys may know about me. I went to public school my entire life. So growing up, I had a lot of friends who were Christian, also a lot of friends who were not. And I had a lot of friends who were Christian and now not as much so. Let's go with that. So I tend to, for a while there, I had a lot of the same conversations, I felt like, with a couple of my friends. And, one I had with a pretty good friend of mine, it was a tough one. We'd been somewhat close friends, through high school and college. We'd try to connect every once in a while and connect here and there. And we'd talk about morality and ethics sometimes, light stuff. And we had known for some time that our views were kind of beginning to grow further and further apart. He knew that I would not agree with a lot of the decisions that he was making. But at one point he asked me to hear him out and just listen to his logic and, understand his decisions and just see if I would agree with him. So he talked and I listened, and he's a smart guy and has well-crafted statements. You could tell that these were all carefully crafted to the point where he definitely had said these to other people before and most likely was going to say use them again. And it's interesting because when you're a pastor, there's kind of a funny thing that happens. Or when people find out going into ministry in general, people kind of tend to expect you to make certain arguments. So what they do is they try to present those arguments before you even get a chance to bring them up. So when I say I didn't say anything, I didn't say a whole lot, because any argument I would make, they would blurt it out before I got a chance to say anything. And finally, the way it kind of, got to the end, and, basically they said, my faith hasn't changed, and I really do believe in God, and I believe that He wants me to be happy. So I'm going to go pursue what makes me the happiest. Which is interesting because you hear things like that a lot, Instagram, Facebook, all social media is a lot of that. Just do whatever makes you happy. Shows, music, all that. Do whatever makes you happy. And I remember sitting there for a minute trying to come up with a response to that. And at the point, I really didn't have anything. I didn't have a response to that. I could have tried to argue his logic, but his mind was made up at that point. And I assured him that we'd still be friends. We didn't, even if we didn't see eye to eye, more or less we still are. But I never was able to deliver that zinger, that one-liner that kind of put him in his place, right, and make him rethink everything. And so as I kind of gone through this passage, I was able to come up with something I wish I would have been able to say back then, but we'll get to that. So, have you ever noticed how many bad decisions people tend to make because they thought that what they were doing was going to make them happy? How many people are willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that they get their New Year's resolution done of being happy this year? Think of how many futures have been destroyed by people going after something that they thought was going to make them happy, or how many people left in financial ruin because of the things that they bought that they thought was going to make them happy. Think of marriages that have been destroyed because husbands and wives went and did something that in the moment made them happy. Think of students who are now messed up. They've ruined their whole future because they went and did something that they thought was going to make them happy. I mean, there's documentaries out there of athletes and celebrities who made millions and millions and millions of dollars, and when it was all over, they had nothing because they went and bought all these things they thought were going to make them happy. Now, if I could go back to that conversation, with that friend, I would tell him, happiness is a result. Happiness is what happens later because of doing the right thing now. Happiness is not just a quick fix. It's not immediate. Happiness is a result. And this is exactly what Jesus was trying to teach in the Sermon on the Mount. One of the reasons that the Beatitudes seems ironic or counterintuitive is because in the moment, they don't seem to result in happiness or blessedness. But that's the point. Blessedness is the byproduct of living as God has called us to live. We have several of these to go through. So let's look through here and how Jesus called his followers to act so that they could be blessed, or oh so happy. So to start off, we're going to be Matthew 5, verse 6. Matthew 5, verse 6. And it says, "Blessed are those who are hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled." So, after his first statements on the attitudes, the first action Jesus said will result in blessedness is hunger and thirsting for righteousness. When I hear this verse, my mind goes to the imagery that the psalmist uses in Psalm 42, verse 1. As a deer longs for flowing streams, so I long for you, God. Can't you just see that thirsty animal looking for something to drink? And Jesus said that if we seek righteousness hard and diligently, like our life depends on it, we will ultimately be blessed. What is the right thing to do is the question that we ask when we hunger and thirst for righteousness. And then we do it. Not how much do I have to do or what can I get away with, but what is the right thing to do? Our greatest regrets in life don't start with asking, what is the right thing to do? No, our greatest regrets in life start when we thought we could get away with doing the right thing. Doing the wrong thing, or when we knew what was right and what was wrong, and we chose the wrong. We would all love to go back and change things that we've done, but no one says, "Oh, I wish I could go back and do the wrong thing." I wish I could make more mistakes. I wish I could screw up more. No, we wish we could go back and do the right thing. That is why Jesus said, blessed are those who seek out the right thing to do. Oh, so happy are the people that go out of their way to do what is right. Look, this is hard. Cutting corners or doing the bare minimum seems like it'd be so much easier. Looking for loopholes and technicalities and, to just let us off easier, but that isn't what makes us blessed, and it doesn't make us happy with ourselves in the long run. Okay, next in verse 7, Jesus then says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy." In Matthew 18, Jesus illustrated, the other side of the equation. He said, here is what happens when we refuse to show mercy. So Matthew 18, verses 32 through 34, it says, "Then, after he had summoned him, his master said to him, 'You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you begged me. Shouldn't you also have had the mercy on your fellow servant as I had mercy on you?' And because he was angry, his master handed him over to the jailers to be tortured until he could pay everything that was owed." Blessed are you when you give people a break and when you let them off the hook, when you treat them better than they treat you. Have you ever known a really happy, bitter person? No, it's an oxymoron, basically. We think that we need to hold on to make sure we get that apology that we feel that we're owed, or we get paid back, for that jab or that thing that doesn't make us happy. That doesn't make us blessed. You ever know someone who has experienced like horrific things or had been mistreated yet was truly happy? Chances are that was a person who had learned how to forgive and show mercy. Jesus didn't say blessed are those people who give exactly what they deserve, and blessed are those who keep an up-to-date record of all the wrongs that have ever been done to them. We are happier when we forgive. We are blessed when we show mercy, and we are promised that we'll be shown mercy in return. All right, next, Jesus, dove into the topic that we all need to hear about. So Matthew 5:8, it says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." How would you like to have clarity or insight into, to know where God was leading you? How would you like to see both the world and your life as God sees them? Well, it starts with purity. Seeing God is a synonym for having an intimate knowledge of and an acquaintance with Him. Do you want your relationship with God to be closer than it's ever been? Purity is the pathway that God uses to allow us that closeness. This is obviously moral purity, but it's also much deeper than that. This is a freedom from hypocrisy, or deception. Purity is a topic that comes up a lot when we're, working with teenagers, right? I get questions like, how far am I allowed to go? Or how close can I get before it's a sin? The pure in heart ask different questions. They ask, how far from sin can I be? Jesus went on then in verse 9 by saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God." God is all about making peace. That's why He sent Jesus to make peace with us. And one of the missions that He's given His people, the church, is the ministry of reconciliation. The Apostle Paul put it like this in 2 Corinthians 5:18. He said, "Everything is from God, who has reconciled us to Himself through Christ and has given us the ministry of reconciliation." God has called us to be peacemakers. We are to do all we can to facilitate peace between people and God. We are to share our faith with everyone so that they may come to have the peace with God that we have, but we are also called to make peace with people. Someone who just loves getting others to fight, or have you ever known someone who doesn't feel like they are living unless they are, arguing with someone? Have you ever known someone that just was like feeding you gossip just to see how you would react to it? How happy are those people? Jesus said that we'd be blessed if we were agents of peace. Take a look. Look around. Our world needs people that are trying to bring peace and reconciliation to others. I think now more than possibly ever, we need some peacemakers right now. I think they're pretty far and few between at the moment. So, the last of the Beatitudes seems to be the toughest for me to grasp here. And this is Matthew 5, verses 10 to 12. It says, "Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. You are blessed when they insult you and persecute you and falsely say every kind of evil against you because of me. Be glad and rejoice, because your reward is great in heaven. For that is how they persecuted the prophets who were before you." Now, how can you be happy when you are persecuted? How can you be happy when you are being insulted or when you're being slandered? Well, I think it comes down to this. There are people who are not going to like you. Some people will dislike you for doing the wrong thing. Some people are going to dislike you for doing the right thing. It's far better to be persecuted for righteousness than for doing the wrong thing. People won't like you, but you at least can like yourself. You can know that what you did was right, even if others don't think that, or even if they didn't like it. Jesus added that you're going to be in pretty good company if this happens to you. You won't be the first and you won't be the last to be mistreated and disliked for doing what is right, but at the end you will be blessed. I keep going back to what that one friend told me about. I believe that God wants me to be happy. I have to tell you, that guy's not happy. Doing what he thought would make him happy has complicated his life in a lot of ways, and I see it all over the place. But in a way, he was right. God does want each one of us to be fulfilled and content in him, and he wants us to be blessed. He wants us to be oh so happy, but he gives us a very clear pathway towards happiness and blessedness. Blessedness happens as a result of our actions lining up with God's plan. Blessedness happens as a result of our actions lining up with God's plans. I want to make that clear here. So let me ask you, are you happy? Are you happy this morning? Are you blessed? Would you say, that you are someone characterized by happiness? Look, blessed is a result of God's plan. So if you aren't experiencing the blessing of being blessed, maybe you need to hunger and thirst after righteousness. Do what is right no matter what the cost. Maybe you need to be merciful and let someone off the hook right now for something that they did to you, or give them a second chance. Maybe you need to see how close to God you can be instead of how close to sin you can get. Maybe you need to go out of your way to make peace and embrace the ministry of reconciliation, which God calls us to. Or maybe you need to be okay with the consequences of just doing the right thing, because others have suffered through them too. The truth is, God wants us to be blessed. He wants us to be happy. And He has shown us exactly how to do it. The question here is, are we willing to have our actions line up with His plan? That's what you have to answer for yourself. So, I hope you guys are happy. I hope you guys are having a good time. I know right now it's hard for us to talk about happiness, but we're going to get through this. We've been doing it now for about 10 months. We can keep going. We're strong. We can endure. And just know that no matter what, I'm here for you. We're all here for you. We all love you. Have a good rest of the week. Hope to talk to you again soon. Bye.